Remy Le Boeuf.
I'm in my basement rehearsal space in Brooklyn. You and I met back at Manhattan School of Music. And later on, in around 2015, I got more serious about writing for big band myself, and that gave me a whole new respect for your writing and your music. When you asked me to sub on one of those rehearsals, I was like, oh yeah, give me a chance at this music. Getting to record with you was a real joy. You give people a lot of opportunities to improvise textures. It can go off the rails really easily. You need to be passive to a degree because sometimes you're a texture, but sometimes you need to be a leader and like spark an idea. I love those little moments in your music. The fact that you can capture spontaneity in a big band is extra impressive to me.
The soloists really understand their job is to be a part of the composition process in those moments.
I think you make it easy for us too, because you create this environment of authenticity. You kind of create this atmosphere where people, I think, feel comfortable, but like also like obligated and naturally want to fit it.
Do you have a favorite track on the record?
I like that there's balance between the different emotions on the record. I thought it was really interesting how you used like overtones on the saxophone in that like you know, like that kind of line. It's the right kind of challenge.
You know, as writers, that's what we are trying to give people, is the right kind of challenge. I feel like I get that from your music.
I mean, I try not to make things challenging. People have to spend a lot of time with the music to know what their role is within it with my music, and I think that's part of what's challenging about it. You seem very comfortable rehearsing your band. Your rehearsals are, you know, not only, you know, do we get to work on the music, but it's like a free comedy show.
I did have my years where I wasn't as sure, and I was kind of like working out rehearsal technique. They were just before I got to New York.
It's funny, when I was at Manhattan School of Music, I played a lot with my twin brother Pascal, and we wrote these very intricate arrangements for quintet or sextet, and we'd be trying to rehearse this very hard music. Why won't people take us seriously? That's what it is. We're twins, and we're like talking over each other, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, so it took me a long time to learn that, but yeah.
There are times when everybody just needs to take a deep breath, have a laugh about something. We've learned how to go off the rails and get back on as a group.
Definitely. Which brings us back to your music. I mean, I think that you're very good at highlighting cognitive dissonance, bringing out the character of things through juxtaposition. And I think it makes your music really captivating. You are who you are in your music, and you are the same person, you know, as a teacher and as an individual, you know, and I think you're interesting on all those levels for the same reasons.
I appreciate you saying that. We're all looking for the authenticity of our music, and we're our most effective when we're presenting ourselves in that way. So.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear your reflections on this album as a protest record.
This is what art, you know, does. This album came at a really appropriate time. There's a lot to be proud of, you know, in our history. There's a lot to be, you know, ashamed of, and we are expanding on the latter. As of late. I want to be more proud of my country. I hope some things change. I hope your next album, if it's political, it'll be a really nice consonant record.
It would be so nice to be in that headspace. So I'm wondering if there's anything that you wanted to ask me.
Did you start with the idea for the record before you wrote?
I've been playing the long game on a lot of this music. Volume 1 was always going to be about what is the individual's place in the world. Volume 2 was always going to be about the individual's place in one's country. It became very much about what does it mean to be an American in today's world.
100 years after Aaron Copland started making an impact, it's just interesting to think about his relationship with America and nationalism in the U.S. and coming 100 years later, and now here we are, and you're making this record that's kind of like a commentary.
I mean, Copland's a huge influence, I think, sonically. What we think of as classic Copland, just the simplest possible expression of an idea.
It's so important to find ways to create the space for a moment to happen.
Right.
And if like everything's happening all the time, then nothing's happening. And I think you're really good at that, despite that you're such an asshole.
Is there anything else that you would want people to know?
I don't have to find my place in the music. It's very natural. I really enjoy it.
It's a credit to you, man. It really is. The Read One book, it's a vibe. It's not always lead. And you and Vito play so well together. Like you sat down in that chair and it felt incredibly natural very quickly. I think that's a function of you more than anything else. Anything that you want to let people know about?
I'm working on another big band record for my Assembly of Shadows Jazz Orchestra. I spent most of the quarantine working on some solo sax music. It's nice to just have one voice to focus on and to get really dorky about the saxophone. So that project is called Vignettes.
Man, I miss the music. I miss you. I miss, just being with people. So
Yeah, same. The first conversation I remember having with you was when I was a freshman, and I think you and Chris, they come up to us and sit at the table. You're like, time to learn about the birds and the bees. Sometimes, a man loves a woman. And, well, they don't have to love each other. Actually, sometimes money's involved. Oh my God.